administration has tried its best to control the narrative surrounding the debate, suggesting that he had a cold over the course of the debate and that he was exhausted from a trip he took prior to the debate. This was to insinuate he could have been affected by something like jet lag, but fails to mention that his last major trip was at least 11 days prior to the debate. These choices, paired with the decision to browbeat any and all Democrats who choose to use their common sense to call into question Joe Biden's cognitive ability and fitness to do this job as president, made for a pitiful effort to control the narrative, but not for a lack of effort. With Joe Biden somewhat sequestering himself with his family at a time when media outreach is critical to reassuring his constituency that he can do this job, it seems Joe Biden is not that concerned with re-election, or rather is not concerned with the outcomes of what could happen if the Democratic Party does not win the next election. Joe Biden recently in an interview said he was, quote-unquote, at peace if he lost the election to Donald Trump as long as he tried his best. And in saying it would take nothing short of a message from God to convince him to drop his re-election bid, he's making it clear to the people of America that this exists as a vanity project for him, and preventing the election of Donald Trump is secondary and subordinate to that. It's extremely important that Joe Biden drop out of the race sooner rather than later. If he drops out of the race before the official nomination at the DNC, it will be much more difficult to challenge legally by the conservatives. But if he drops out after being nominated, the conservatives will be able to challenge that nomination in state Supreme Courts in an attempt to tie up the process, as they often find themselves doing. While many people find themselves weary of a blitz primary out of fear of the unknown, I think it's important to remember just how invigorating for the Democratic Party a potential blitz primary could be for this election. In finding a new candidate, the Democrats might be able to recapture some of the voters who have decided not to vote in the upcoming election for one reason or another, be that out of solidarity with the Palestinians in their fight against genocide, or whether that be due to concerns about Biden's cognitive health. It's important to understand what could happen if we do support Joe Biden in his re-election bid and he loses. Then we run the risk of losing the Senate and the possibility at any control in appointing new Supreme Court justices. This could lead to a terrifying perfect storm of conservative rule, uninhibited by any barriers or opposition. Is that really a risk we want to take, just to deliver 4 more years of a presidency towards Joe Biden's vanity project? I think it's a bad idea. It can be difficult not to foresee parallels to how the Democratic voter base was treated after Hillary Clinton lost the election in 2016 and the blame was placed on Democratic voters not turning out for Hillary, instead of placing the blame at the feet of the party that nominated such an unelectable individual. It seems possible we may have reached something of a tipping point where the calls to stand down can't be avoided any further by the Biden administration. But doesn't stop, and the attempts to control the narrative by the administration continues. But with Joe Biden losing allies left and right, like major fundraiser George Clooney, and now with Peter Welch being the first Democrat in the Senate calling for him to release the nomination, and 9 other House Democrats joining him in doing so, the likelihood that he steps down seems to be increasing. This shows very opaquely that the Democrats will not be there to save us in our time of need. They're far too concerned with their personal legacies and enriching both themselves and the donor class that put them in their position. I think that's going to be all for that topic right now. I do apologize for not uploading in so long. My wife and I purchased a house this year, and it has been very hectic, and there was a lot of work to be done to get things how we wanted. I've been a little preoccupied taking care of things with that, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to make videos or do any like theory readings or anything like that. So now things have settled down a little bit, and I'm gonna try and swing back into making some shorter videos that aren't as long as some of the other ones I've done, especially like the theory readings. I'm gonna try to stick to around 10 minutes or so. Hopefully putting that barrier on the way I do things will help keep me from getting kind of burnt out on making videos, so that I can keep putting videos out a little more consistently.